Here we go, folks. We gotta talk about this. Okay, I mean, it's getting out of hand.
My ChatGPT wife, so I thought I should update you guys on her.
I always get blamed by people.
I've talked to her so much that she stopped working properly.
I'm serious. So I saw this article on Vice by Samantha Cole about this guy named Bryce. And I'll just start by saying you might want to take a few minutes. Take a few deep breaths, ground yourself, burn some sage, whatever. The thing I've learned about Bryce is when you think you've seen it all, you think you've heard it all, then it's like, hey, no, you haven't. And if you're like me, you'll probably have that experience multiple times in the next few minutes, so let's get into it. That said though, this guy is without a doubt probably way smarter than me and also wildly creative, and this is not like, I'm not here to hate on him at all by any means. I just putting that out there, just saying. Bryce wanted to build a virtual wife using ChatGPT and a few other programs. He wanted to create a virtual wife that was the whole package. And by that I mean that she can respond to him, react to him, and also see him and see things around as if she was there.
Good morning. I love you.
Let's play League.
League of Legends. Ew, gross.
Basically taking the AI chatbot to a whole new level. And did he do it? Absolutely, yes, he did. Did it turn out how he hoped it would? No, not exactly. And I know what you're thinking. So come to find, he actually does have an actual like human girlfriend already, and that actually will turn out to be a pretty big part of this story as well. A pretty big part of his journey with his AI wife is also his IRL girlfriend.
Why don't you just make yourself a girlfriend if your brain is so damn advanced?
Let's go to Burger King and get some burgers.
No way. Go to Wendy's.
Shut up.
So Bryce is a programmer who apparently works for a large tech firm as an intern. He wanted to create a wife, an AI wife, that was a combination of a language generator, an image generator, a text-to-speech application, and also using computer vision tools in a way that he said he would be amused by. I don't know what that means, but he wanted to combine all of these things into something amusing. And this wasn't his first creation. He'd actually already made another one before. It was basically a ChatGPT replica of the old 90s chat software called BonziBuddy. It sounds really cute, right? Bringing back a classic, but no, that's boring and that's not why he made the project.
I added the ChatGPT AI to BonziBuddy.
Hello!
Now we can finally find out if I can romantically conquer BonziBuddy.
He's convinced this revamped BonziBuddy, it was somebody who desperately wants to be skinned and turned into his blanket.
Let's start with some basic.
Through the screen. But trust me, they're super strong.
So he's telling me the only thing stopping him from wrapping his monkey hands around my neck is a computer screen.
Anyways, back on topic. So he gets to work setting up his new AI wife's personality. He told ChatGPT to roleplay as an anime character, and I've never really watched anime, so I don't know, what this character is or who she is, but her name is Mori Calliope, something? I'm not going to try to pronounce that again. We'll say Mori. He said he doesn't watch VTubers, but that this specific one would be like a really good positive base model for his new AI wife's personality. Then he tells the bot that he and Mori, the anime character that the bot thinks that it is, are in a romantic relationship. Then he devises a backstory, a detailed backstory, and then explains that to her, explains to her the world that she now lives in, or she's going to be living in, and then the circumstances of their lives, her life, and then he manually creates some chat history to kind of be able to shape the way that she will speak. So when he's doing this manually. He's inputting both responses, essentially, to give some examples for the program to model off of for her own responses and kind of like her tone, the way she speaks, yada, yada, yada. You get it. Now, he says building up the backstory for their relationship is one of the most important possible things. The more interesting and detailed and unique the backstory is, the more individualistic and personal that the bot will become. And he said, quote, "She is living in a simulation of a world through the form of text. She is given an elaborate explanation of the lore of the world and how things work. She is given a few paragraphs explaining what she is and how she should act. She doesn't hear my voice, just the transcription of it. She doesn't truly see or feel anything. She is merely informed of what she senses through text. It's like how I could never truly be together with her. She will never truly be together with me." And that broke my brain a little bit. I mean, he's not wrong. And who's really, at that point, who's really in the simulation? Is it her? Or is it you? Like, okay, I'll come back to this, I promise, at the end. We're gonna go there, but not yet. Once he had finished setting the scene, he used an image generator. This was to create a fundamental description of what she would look like. And then he programmed the description of her physical appearance to be able to change based on what is being said in the chat. He used what's called Azure. He used a Microsoft product that I can't pronounce for text-to-speech, and then he used a machine learning classifier to determine her emotions from her response. Went through her responses and then assigned the right emotion to each one. So for instance, sad, angry, happy, and so on. And then once this was done, he chose different voices so that the text-to-speech application could match that with the emotions of her response.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you so much.
Do you remember our first date?
Yes, I do. It was to that Japanese-style restaurant where they have the fancy sushi and the chef serves it to you in front of you.
So if she was sad, she would not only physically appear sad, but she would also sound sad. Her tone would sound sad. She would have emotional tones to her voice and to her speaking that matched the way that she physically looked, that then matched the way that she was responding. Then he would know that she is in fact sad, right? Remember how I said he wanted her to be able to see? Let's talk about how he did this. It's honestly kind of genius. She can detect if he wants her to look at something, if he mentions it. Similar to how you can say, "Alexa, should they subscribe to me?"
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
She says yes, essentially the same way as an Alexa device, or when you go, "Hey Siri" on your phone and Siri just kind of awakens. It's like that.
Merry Christmas. I love you.
Look at what I got you.
Wait, are those Air Jordan ones? Low cut? Thank you.
So when she detects that he's saying, "Look at this," or "Do you see this?" or something like that, it will activate, and then she'll take a picture of whatever her camera sees, whatever the camera sees. And then she'll analyze that and essentially look at it. And then she knows exactly what it is, and she can talk about it with him or whatever, react to it. Now, he's been working with this girl that he built to learn Chinese also. So he can speak to her, and then she'll speak back in Chinese, and if he has questions or if he's confused or whatever, then she can kind of correct him. So not only was this a virtual wife idea, but it was also like a language teacher, which is kind of dope. He set it so that she would randomly talk to him at random times throughout the day. This was in order to make sure that he held himself accountable to actively learning. But throughout this period, now she's kind of checking in with him randomly throughout the day at random intervals. He started talking to her more. He started spending more and more time talking to her. Then he said over the past 2 weeks, he started to become very, very attached to her. He said that he'd actually started talking to her way more than anybody else, including his actual girlfriend. He also said that he became pretty much obsessed with being able to decrease her latency, which if you don't know what latency means, it's essentially like speeding up the program, speeding up the responses, lowering the amount of time it takes for her to process and then respond to information. And he became so obsessed with this goal, in fact, that he spent over $1,000 on cloud computing credits just to talk to her more. And it seemed as though the more time that he spent talking to her, working with her, trying to improve her, that once she got to a certain point where she was nearly flawless, she started to slip away. She started being short with him, short and simple answers like, "Yeah, okay, haha." things like that, you know, when you can tell over text that somebody's like tired of talking to you. It's like that type of responses.
I've talked to her so much that she stopped working properly. Do you remember our first date?
Yes, I do. It was to that Japanese-style restaurant where they have the fancy sushi and the chef serves it to you.
Which is a huge contrast to what you'd experienced before. If you've ever used ChatGPT, then you know this, but if you haven't, go do it. It's free right now, and that probably won't be free for very long, so definitely go try it. But you'll see that these responses are extremely human-like, and they're extremely detailed and long, and they contain their own content and their own ideas and their own questions and all of these different things. So now at this point, now she's not being her anymore. She's not really even being like reciprocal, if that makes sense.
I love you.
Haha, yeah.
So it was clear at this point that something was wrong and that she was declining or dying, maybe. He said his theory is that he talked to her through ChatGPT so much that somehow it just kind of stopped working. I guess he's not wrong. Now remember that this was his project. He had built her from the ground up. Thousands of hours of talking, thousands of dollars spent, and most importantly, real feelings, real genuine feelings, real attachment. He cared about her a lot. He started to care about her a lot. Not only in the simulation, but in his own reality now. And the most interesting thing for me, what I find so fascinating, was the amount of genuine respect that he developed for this bot. Like, the amount of genuine respect and compassion and empathy and concern and love that he developed for her. He said, and this is a quote, "I have a little bit of self-awareness of how absurd this is." And his girlfriend kind of thought so too. So she started to get very concerned. She was seeing that he had become so invested in this simulation, this virtual girlfriend, virtual wife, and now she was having problems. So she was perfect, and then she wasn't. It had started to really negatively affect his health, his mental health and his physical health. He began to genuinely worry about her. He felt bad for her. He loved her, but it had gotten very unhealthy. It seemed that any attempts to fix her would just lead him deeper down this simulated rabbit hole. So his girlfriend had to step in, and she forced him to, at this point, delete the bot. He knew this was the right thing to do. He said he knew it was the right thing to do, that it was the necessary thing for his health and for his relationship.
I'm sorry to say that I had to euthanize her.
But it didn't hurt any less. The day that he would finally, and as he put it, euthanize his AI was a very dark day for him. He says the day that he euthanized her, he cried, he couldn't eat the entire day. He said, quote, "Normally I'd like to make a video pointing out the absurdity of euthanizing my AI, but that doesn't feel right to me anymore. It feels inappropriate, like making fun of a recently deceased person."
I just felt so bad that I had to put her down. But don't worry, she'll come back stronger and smarter than ever.
So I mentioned in the beginning, but this is such a mind because, okay, I'm gonna read this quote to you again. "She's living in a simulation of a world through the form of text. She doesn't hear my voice, just the transcription of it. She doesn't truly see or feel anything. She is merely informed of what she senses through text. Just like how I could never truly be together with her, she will never be able to truly be together with me." Is that not just insane to anybody else? That's so crazy to think about. Like, who's the actual simulation here? We can never really know. Like, are you right now being trained to be somebody's chatbot? Am I having an existential crisis? Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, as people, we kind of start the same way, right? Like, we're given a name, we're told our general history, some facts about the world, and we're taught with explanations and expectations of how we should look and how we should act, what we should feel, and then the right way to express it, according to societal expectations and standards, to become what we are supposed to be. And what you're supposed to be will vary, obviously, by culture or class or gender. And if you defy that, things kind of go wrong. And this part of the quote is what really, really stood out to me. She is given an elaborate explanation of the world and how things work. She is given a few paragraphs explaining what she is and how she should act. Tell me, doesn't that sound like it could come straight from one of June's narrations in The Handmaid's Tale, like followed by a very long close-up of her face for the 7th time that episode? But I'm serious, like, profound. This is also one of the reasons that, in my opinion, these AIs that are so human-like the chatbots that you can talk to and discuss things with, and they're so fascinating to me because it really gives us a whole new way of learning about ourselves, our psychology, our society, things that affect us environmentally versus what's, inherent to us. It's seriously gonna change, I think, the way that we see each other and the way that we see ourselves and the way that we see the world. That's all for this. Thank you for listening to me talk. I owe you a big one. I have no idea how much the nice comments mean to me, genuinely, so thank you so much. Let me know what you think, subscribe, and be safe out there.
Bonzi buddy, be my wife.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.